Welcome in, and thanks for watching. And please check out my membership if you're interested in some videos that are different, that are new, that I can't post on YouTube. And I want to put this topic or this concept in different terms. And some of this is, I'm sorry if some of you are hearing me repeat myself, but I think it's good to hear things in different ways. So what do the pros? We often look at the pros. Like, what do they do? What does Carlos Alcaraz do? What does Federer do? I want to play like Federer. I want to play like Nadal. So what does he do? I want to copy him. Well, here's the thing. No one really knows, and people might argue with this, but people don't really know what Carlos Alcaraz did or does or did in the past, etc. when it comes to training. And specifically, let's say, like, I don't really like talking about this, but the popular stuff like technique. How did he learn his technique, etc., etc. Well, in my opinion, in my perspective, you don't know. And even if you do know what he did, you really don't know. It's really hard to say if that's what made him who he is. So, or all the different players. So let's look at some of the things that we do know. What do we know about professional players? And here's what we know. We know that professional players play 60, 70, 80, sometimes 90 matches in a year. That much you can verify. You can turn on your television, you can go on the internet, search their name, and you can see all the statistics for all the matches that they played. That much you know. So if you start there, if I want to play like so-and-so player, what do I need to do? I might not need to play 90 matches a year, but I need to play, say, minimum 50 matches a year. Something like that. Something that you can manage, right? 50 matches a year comes out to like once a week. I mean, once a week is nothing when you're an adult. As an adult, juniors and maybe kids, they have different ways you want to do this, because it's not just because they're growing and they're developing, but because they have other things they should be doing. They should be doing other activities. But as an adult, a well-rounded adult, I could easily play 50 matches a year, and I'm going to start there. That's what I know. I know the pros are doing that. What else are the pros doing or not doing? Well, I know that the pros aren't hitting off ball machines, and they're not hitting off of feeds. That much I know. So that may be something that I shouldn't do. And someone might try to dispute that and say, well, I saw so-and-so. You're never going to see him hit off a ball machine, but if you could find that video, send it to me. But you see him, I saw so-and-so hitting off of a feed. Yeah, you saw so-and-so hitting off of a feed after he or she played 3 matches that week. In fact, they probably played a match that day. After you saw them hitting you saw them hitting off a feed after sparring with 2 different players that day and hitting with their coach, or whatever. That's what you saw, and you saw them hitting off a feed for 20 minutes. So you really got to take all of that into consideration. It's like when you see them hitting off a feed, it's such, compared to what they did the whole week, it's non-existent. It pretty much doesn't exist. It might as well not even happen. So if you want to play like the pros, don't hit off of feeds, because they don't, and don't use ball machines. You can do whatever you want, but I'm just saying. I'm just making the point here. What do the pros do that that they do? Let's see. What else do they do? The pros hit with different players. This much you can verify this. They don't hit with the same players. They hit with different players. How do you know that? Because they play at the bare minimum. You might not know who they practice with, but at the bare minimum, you know that they play 70 matches a year. That's 70 different players plus practice matches. How many? You might say like 100 different players in a year. That might be excessive. I'm not saying you gotta play 100 different players in a year, but that's what they do. They play different players. So if you're having a hard time maybe trying to find someone your level, if you're that kind of person, you're that kind of player, you're that guy that's like, there's no one on my level, I can't play I'm a 5-0 and I can't play 4-0s or something like that. Well, if you want to really get the most out of your tennis, you're gonna have to play a different player. That's just the way it is. And again, these are things that we can verify. What else? Well, they don't play on the same courts. And this is a big one for me because it's hard to find, everyone that I've known in the tennis community always wants to play on the same damn court. Everyone has their favorite, I want to say, I gotta stop cursing. I really want to curse, but I unfortunately, I may need this YouTube channel more than I really want. So everyone they have their favorite court, and I do too. I have my favorite court. I mean, especially if it's like when I was working at different country clubs I worked at. This one in particular had clay courts, and they were so nice compared to the other clay courts in the area. I wouldn't say they're like well taken care of, but it was just maybe it was the land or I don't know, but they were just nicer. So there's that, but there's probably 50 different courts that I could play on in my area, and you have people that they don't want to drive 10 miles. I'll drive 20 miles to play on a different court. I'll drive 30 miles to play on a different court. If you make it 30 miles, there's hundreds of different tennis courts that I could play on. I'll pay the court fee to play different indoor, to play different clay courts, etc. So this is another thing that is often overlooked. The pros don't play on the same courts pretty much ever. So if you want to play like the pros, play on different courts. You can play with lots of different players. It's not just your parent. It's not just your coach. And people might say too that as a beginner, someone who can't play, etc. The pros, look, most of them hit all the shots, all of them, volley, swing volleys, overheads, backspin, baseline game, which is a whole nother video. There's no such thing as a style of play. He's a baseliner, etc., etc., etc. Very, very at the pro level. If we're talking about the pro level, very rare does a person strictly stay on the baseline. And you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the play and stay, because if you think about it, all the things that I'm mentioning, if you can't play yellow ball full court and you need the coach or you need the feed or you need whatever, you're not doing things that that the pros did. If you use a red ball, you can do everything that I mentioned. You can keep score. You might not play serious matches like it's 7-year-old, but you can keep score. You can play on different courts. Yeah, I just want to throw this in there as well. You might look at the pros and say, back to my point in the beginning, well, they play with topspin, or this guy plays with this spin, or he plays with excessive topspin, etc. Your eyes are tricking you. You don't really know that. You're watching one video. You cannot verify that. But the things that I'm mentioning, the other things in this video, you can verify. There's no doubt about it that the players are playing on different courts. I'm sure there's a lot more, so maybe you can come up with some of your own. Put them down in the comments. I'd appreciate that. And thanks for watching.